Hello, Professor and classmates. My name is Ellen, and I'm here to talk to you about whether sitting in the front of the classroom guarantees you a better grade than sitting in the back. In a study done likely by a student based on the size, in 2018, published in October, one researcher surveyed a group of 99 students and asked them about where they sat in class, what their GPA was, what their letter grade was, and what their gender was. I disregarded that last variable because I didn't feel that it was applicable to the research I was doing. So with the rest of the information in hand, I analyzed the data in three ways. Well, kind of two ways. I analyzed the entire study, all of the participants as a whole, and I also analyzed the people who sat in the front and the people who sat in the back to see where the differentiation was, and I got up with some pretty interesting results. 2/3, 63% to be exact, of students who sat in the front got a B plus or higher. So if you're sitting in the front, there's a pretty good chance you're going to get a good grade. Only half as many of the students who sat in the back row got a comparable grade. So if you're sitting in the back, you're going to have to work harder. That's just the way it works, I guess. At least that's what you'd assume. However, there's some interesting stuff that you can't really tell just by looking at letter grades. For instance, well, yes, the highest GPA did come from the front of the class, a 4.37 if memory serves. So did the lowest at 1.92. So just because you're sitting closer to the professor doesn't mean you're going to get a great grade. You still have to put work into it. Another thing that I noticed that was very interesting was the high percentage of students who sat in the back who got a B. Not a B plus, not a B minus, but a whopping 34% of students who sat in the back of the class earned a B grade. That's the highest percentage out of any of the other groups I looked at. That was the biggest chunk, and I'm very curious to see why a B specifically. I think it was explained fairly well in the data that I looked at for the GPAs, but I don't remember it off the top of my head. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. So, from this, we can learn that you have to study hard no matter where you sit, but sitting in front does give you a bit of an advantage. So if you want the high ground, then go for the front of the class, I guess. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys whenever the snow decides to be merciful. Bye.